Little shared note there.
Got it up.
You're in charge of F1 fantasy names because I was.
Hopefully it f***ing stays up. Tell you what.
We're
We're
doing Tommy T's podcast, Tommy T's review.
Yeah, I can. Do you want me to move closer in the middle of this shot?
If you want.
Well, there's the boys. Yeah, we're looking good. Should I pop the collar? Like a legend.
You should pop it like that.
To another episode of the Oz F1 show, our first race review episode for the 2021 season. And I tell you what, I'm joined by two bloody handsome human beings. And unfortunately, it's not a mirror. It's the two boys, my friends and yours. Tommy T.
This guy's been panel beaten.
Steal my joke. Sick. Love that. We're off to a great start for season 3.
Well, this is good. Boys, this is actually a race that firstly, we're up. It's 20 past 4 in the morning as we record this, so that's an exciting thing. The commitment is real here on the Oz F1 show, but it was exciting all the way to the end.
Podcast of the people. That's why we're up at 4:30. I'll give you that. But
podcast of the people.
As you wear an RM rugby shirt, pal.
And your Uggs that you've got on the table as well.
I'm comfortable around you.
He's talking about you, of course. But Tommy T, our first race of the year, it's pretty bloody good, the fact that Max Verstappen was fighting all the way to the end.
Shattered he couldn't get it done.
Yeah.
We were yelling and screaming inside the factory recording and watching together.
He did get it done.
He had to give it back.
Yeah,
we'll talk about it later, but he could have done it a different way. But great to see some fighting early in the season.
Yep, Campy.
Oh, that's just not a one-horse race this year. It's not between Lewis and Valtteri.
Yeah,
we've genuinely got some competition up the front with Max, and Perez drove great too. Recovery drive, having that incident on his on the warm-up lap, on the out lap. I think it was his batteries that.
I think it's a steering wheel or something, something electrical.
They figured it out. He had a great recovery drive. He was out of sync because he pitted really early as well. I think he wanted to try and do a one-stop, but that didn't work out. But brilliant drive from both Red Bull guys, but all credit to Mercedes. So.
Yeah.
I haven't seen a race like that in a long time without an incident happening towards the back end of the race for something to happen.
That's very true. And Toto genuinely looked happy. Like he was doing these ones at the back of the garage. And I haven't seen him happy like that. Like going, I'm surprised that we actually got up for a very long time, which is very, very cool to see. Before we talk more about Formula One, Campy, talk to us about our absolute superstar Aussie, Oscar Piastri, in Formula 2.
Oh, well, what a debut weekend for F2 for this guy. He is the real deal. He stepped up from F3, won the championship last year. And what he had to do this year is he had to prove himself in his first year. And boy, did he do that. First race, he went off in the first lap and dropped about 6 positions back, but clawed his way back to 4th, was right in the mix with the podium guys. Just unfortunately, he was just a bit far back. Race 2 got the win in an incident-filled race. And, just drove with composure. He managed the tyres really well, and that's what everyone talks about in F2 is managing the tyres. Specifically in the desert, they had track temps of 49 degrees, and capacity for these guys to burn rubber really easily without managing them. He showed poise like you've never seen. Now, the third race, the feature race, he was bang on to win this. Started 7th by about lap 16, 14 or so, he'd gotten the lead, and he was cruising. There was an incident where someone went off because their fire extinguisher blew up, which caused a chain of events for...
So unlucky.
He came out after the safety car in second, but he was on the wrong strategy then. He was on the hard tyre, and everyone else that was on that strategy was in 10th way back. But for him to hold off like he did for 2 laps and still be on the podium and then have been it because he was just going for it. Look, I don't mind when people make mistakes when they're 100% going for it.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, he got a DNF, but he is a class. From what I saw in every race, he's a class above everybody else, and he's odds on to win the championship for me.
To be 3 races in this early in the season and already dominating. He's just come up from the Formula 3 into 2 and he's already doing really well. He was the championship leader for a point there when he was coming in 2nd or 3rd and he obviously DNF, so he didn't, but the last standings, he was already there. It's his first weekend. It's unbelievable.
As Campy said, having a debut like that really, in my mind, if he can tie that up for the rest of the season, boys, there would be no reason that he wouldn't jump into that Alpine alongside Fernando Alonso next year. You heard it here first.
Well, he'll jump. Guan Yu Zhou won that that feature race 3, but Piastri was so far in front of everyone in chain events. It's motorsport. It happens. But he will be, in my opinion, Renault's number 1 pick after this weekend.
Yep, big time.
If he's not, I'd be shocked at the French's stupidity.
Would you be shocked?
Does happen.
I wouldn't be shocked.
I wouldn't be shocked.
But,
I think that's a legit thing.
I think Ocon's given up. So anyway, I think that seat could be his next year, which is exciting for us.
Yeah, it is good. It is good. But also for me, look, I've said plenty of times last year, if you're new to the Oz F1 show, I'm not a massive fan of new talent coming in. Just because they're young doesn't mean they've got talent. Even DC said that on a podcast very recently as well. But if they're there and they're fast, fantastic. We've seen Yuki Tsunoda this weekend have an absolute flyer of a practice and qualifying session. Really, I mean, the guy's really, really short, so that's funny to begin with, but he's really well respected straight out of the bat. And he will be the best rookie because he's just lucky enough to be in that AlphaTauri for the year. But my point is, here's someone who won Japanese Formula 4, goes into F3, does a stunning job. Next year goes into F2, does a stunning job. Now in F1, the path is set before them, and Renault haven't had that star yet in someone like Oscar. So that's fantastic. We're really keen for that. And if you think he's a bit of a legend, here's a little bit of a plug. Our new Legends t-shirt that none of us are wearing it because we still haven't got them because they're that new. Has a Piastri name on it, which is bloody cool. So well done, well designed, Tommy T. As everything else is well designed too. Now Campy missed the anthem.
I did.
Why'd you miss the anthem?
I was on my way because it's
what time does it start?
2 a.m. start. I thought it was a 10 past start. So I left myself half an hour to get here, but
you can't get the staff.
I made it just in time for the
lucky enough,
the second outlap.
Sergio's car. Sergio did you a favour, mate, and had an issue so you could make it for the actual start.
Watching it in the car, so it's all good.
Oh yeah, to say that on camera.
Vic Pol, do not at us.
Vic Pol, come at me. You squid.
It was a very interesting anthem, and by interesting, I mean when I describe a glass of wine as interesting, and if you know me, that means it's terrible. The flight pass I didn't see, but apparently it was the 7879 Dreamliner. Thanks, Lazar, for pointing that out in just random side note commentary.
Love that.
But the lead up to this race and the hype, we've had testing a couple of weeks ago, and we take all of that with a grain of salt, as we said a couple of weeks ago. But leading into qualifying, it really showed that Max topping all of the timesheets going forward into this race, that actually maybe the hype of Red Bull being towards the front this year may have been real.
I was not ready to believe the hype.
No,
I was so used to the whole hybrid era, really, of Mercedes just sandbagging, playing dead possum basically, and then waking up for qualifying and just dominating everyone.
What do you mean?
Possums play dead. Do you not know this? That's a defense mechanism of a possum. Yeah, they play dead so they don't get attacked. Okay. That's what Mercedes do. They just, we suck this year, we're not going to win, and then all of a sudden qualifying bang.
We used to play that in primary school on Friday afternoons.
But so there was talk about, you're an idiot.
Please go on.
Dead fish just dropped right in the middle of the podcast. Jesus.
The professionalism is real.
Oh, love it.
All we've heard this lead up is Mercedes sandbang. Are they not? Are they actually good? Are Red Bull better? None of us knew. None of us really wanted to buy into any of it. We were just like, shut up, let's wait until we see qualifying. And then we did, and Max was 4/10 quicker.
Yeah.
Huge.
Oh.
It was just good to see because we'd said sandbags, and Lewis were like, Red Bull are the car to beat, and Red Bull going, well, Mercedes are going to come out and be quicker, as you said, because that's just happened every time the last couple of years.
Anything that comes out of Lewis's Hamilton's mouth.
No, especially when my tyres are gone and then sets fastest lap. But really, though, I think the hype going into this race, and even the race as a whole, because Bahrain I don't like as a track, this was actually a hype race and it didn't disappoint.
Yep. I think the best thing is at least you can overtake here. If we were to start somewhere where it's just like a procession and we're driving around, at least there was potential for stuff to happen.
Yep.
That was the other thing.
You mean Jeddah? The hairpin, the bobby pin.
The bobby pin.
What a great track.
I think that coupled with a few new drivers, some team changes, there was only a couple of driver lineups that didn't change. There was fresh meat kind of changing around everywhere. So that was at least exciting on that part. So
Fresh meat.
fresh meat.
We're doing well. Dead possum is fresh meat. Is it?
Yeah.
Maybe it's not.
Rednecks
Let's
campy.
talk about all of the teams and each driver as we have traditionally done. So the first time we do this for this season. And we'll start at the back of the pack with Mazepin and Haas.
He's a dud.
What an absolute potato.
He's the biggest dud on the grid.
Yeah. It's just kind of almost not worth talking about.
We just said, lucky your dad's rich because you're going to need all that money to fix the car every single week. When you spin, you don't.
Comments on the Discord.
Yeah, if you're not part of our Discord, you go down into the link if you're listening to the audio podcast or watching in the description below. Click on it because there are some fantastic comments. And even if you don't watch it live and you come back later, you can scroll through the comments. There's probably our new favourite Canadian, if this guy is from Canada, because he jumps, let's see if the comments are fantastic.
But Schumacher made the exact same mistake that Mazepin did a lap later. Same corner.
But what
Same thing.
such a better driver.
Lost the rear end. Well, we don't
know.
We don't know.
The car's a piece of crap. That's the truth, right?
I look at Alfa Romeo.
Yes.
Those two cars were on par last year, and with Grosjean and Magnussen, they're competent drivers.
Yep.
We totally agree with that here. But once you leave that and you bring two rookies in, you look at the difference between Alfa Romeo and Haas at the moment. I don't think Haas has gotten all the chassis worse than last year.
That's not completely fair, though. They haven't done any updates.
Yeah, but
Whereas Alpha has.
Yeah, they've done updates.
They haven't.
They haven't
worked on the car. They said they're not. They're working on the next year.
I mean, I think they probably have done something. Like the new power unit.
They're basically just rolling out a car this year and going, let's just get through and wait for the next regs.
I understand that too, but there's no way they're going to drop off that much. It's driver related and
and you got two rookies, why would have been a better decision to keep K-Mag alongside Schumacher for this year. Yeah, I get the money thing. And if you've watched Drive to Survive, you understand Gunther's, plea with sponsors to try and get them on board. I understand that. Still doesn't make it right in my mind that this is the kind of, doesn't even make it around the first four corners in the race and bins it as significantly as he did, purely based on his own mistake.
Well, we said this. There's like, do sponsors want to see someone crash out in the first lap or be completely useless at the back? Or would you prefer to support a team that doesn't have a driver from your country but is actually competitive?
Yeah.
Surely that's better for sponsorship money. So you can get all this money, but if it's going to be at the back, what's the point? Gene Haas, you're better off just putting in the extra money that's shortfalling.
Yep.
Instead of being at the back with these duds.
The crash will get TV time and driving at the back clearly won't. So that's what sponsors really want. They want TV time.
No bad publicity according to Campy.
Well, I mean, to a point, I kind of agree with you. But when it's your dad's company is the only sponsor on the car and you've crashed it, not really sure it is.
I couldn't tell. It was crashed.
How similar to him and his dad look like? They look like something out of Adam's Family.
Carbon copies of each other. Terrifying at the best.
Heads on them. I was
going to say, that's going from him. Coming from this beautiful specimen of a potato. But Schumacher, MSC, shout out to you, Bryony. MSC, Mick Schumacher, the name back on the lead, I was going to say the leaderboard, but the timesheets is cool to see. MSC, it's a nice little throwback to his dad. But he's just such a nice guy, isn't he?
Yep.
Off the track, in every kind of environment, he's positive, chipper. It just speaks incredibly well.
Yeah, I think let's give the rookies till the mid-season break before we bust too many chops.
No.
It's a big adjustment coming into F1. There's so many different things, the media, everything. Let's just give them a little bit of time to adjust. Not all of them are going to be on fire.
You hear it here first. We had a couple of weeks.
Is that okay?
No.
I wasn't going to rag on Michael Schumacher. Mick.
Or both.
Well, he could be shit. We just don't know yet.
Well, that's true. But, Haas, it's just not place to prove yourself really for this year, which is a shame. All right, let's talk about Williams and our favourite Canadian, Nicholas Latifi finishing in 18th and George Russell finishing in 14th. Tommy and I both think that the new Williams livery looks good on track.
And that is all we think about Williams.
That's the only conversation we have about this car. Campy?
They've improved.
Yep.
Russell got out of Q3 into Q2. Set a really good lap. He's world class, George Russell. He's proved it last year when he stepped up in the Mercedes, but he is just going to get better and better and better. It's good to see Latifi was a bit closer as well, a bit more competitive in practices and qualifying. Not so much race. I didn't see anything of them in the race, if I'm honest. But
also great to see Russell not.
Don't love the livery though, like you two.
Still towing that
Dropping the
no
time sheet.
Williams points for George Russell. Forever.
Sadist.
Poor bloke. Look, I think, I didn't like it when it was standing still, but moving around the track, I think it looks fine.
I like the little message on the halo too.
Yeah, that was nice.
That's nice.
That is nice. Let's talk about Alpine. Fernando Alonso had a great race. It had to be said before he had a DNF and he lost his back brakes. The dude hasn't lost it, has he?
Nope.
2 years out. And, he's done his stuff. He's tried Indy. He's done endurance in Le Mans and an amazing job with all of that. And he is a stunning driver. He's one of your favourites, isn't he, Kevin?
He is. He's a star. Hasn't missed a beat. Performed all weekend like a consummate professional. Unfortunately, that Renault motor is a heaper. And they have done. It seems to me like Renault or Alpine have done zero improvement from where they were last year, chassis-wise and engine-wise, because they're getting passed by everybody. And, Danny Rick driving that car last year got some excellent results, outperformed it. But Fernando Alonso, for me, making Q3, he outperformed that car and he spanked Ocon. And I'm going to have to change my whipping boy to Ocon, to the Frenchman, I think, because Gasly's driving too well to rag on him.
We finally bloody got it.
How many seasons?
Unbelievable.
Oh, no, so I'm going to have to eat some humble pie on that one. And Gasly's doing all right.
I don't believe what I'm hearing. Are you okay?
Break this one out for social media. People need to see this.
Really? Do you not think I can criticise myself?
No.
Not well.
Not well. Not well.
No, but I think
Scott clearly doesn't look in the mirror every day.
I've only got 17 of them around the house, mate. At least 7 in each room. But really, though, Ocon has this year to prove, and we said at the very top of the podcast that I think this is where Piastri is going. He's got, the momentum. Also, Piastri's got Mark Webber as a manager who in Formula One paddock all the time will be agitating for that sort of stuff. Alpine's under new management. There's a whole range of different things going on there. And so I think that's really good. I actually think the car looks fantastic, but the new design with the aerobox at the top is obviously, the Beluga looks like a Peugeot. That's what it looks like, but it's not doing
like
a lot
Tommy
for
D.
the car.
I can't believe you're giving people crap for heads.
My mum actually did say to you that she likes your new haircut, so you better grow that out immediately.
Thank you. Love that. I'm into it.
Shout out to you, Mum. But Alpine
hurry up and grow it.
goes outside and puts fertilizer in it, starts rubbing it in. But Ocon, I think this is his last year. He got showed up last year by Danny Rick, and for Alonso to have 2 years out of a car come back in, go straight into Q3 in a car that looks really not that balanced. If you listen to Campy's Tech Talk podcast last week, you would have heard describing the fact that the rear floor has changed and the downforce that Renault had as an advantage last year that Danny Rick managed to do some wonderful stuff with doesn't exist anymore. So Ocon's obviously taking a little bit of time to catch up, but it's so good to see Fernando back. It's just a shame that he DNF'd with no faults, no spins, no crashes of his own, and made some really good moves. It was interesting at one point there that Carlos Sainz had passed 3 world champions, not that Kimi had won in the Ferrari, but 3 world champions who had all driven for Ferrari. And that one he's going, bye, as he passes Alonso and Vettel and Raikkonen. That was just a nice moment for me. Okay, let's talk about Alfa Romeo because they're just outside the points, 11th and 12th here, but they, as you said, Campy, just before, they've made leaps and bounds, really. I think Williams has made improvements, but even George Russell said in the weekend, Alfa Romeo has gone further again. The car looks very solid. Giovinazzi performed quite well in qualifying yesterday as well. What are your thoughts, Campy, on Alfa this year?
Kimi Räikkönen, superstar. He's still got it. Hasn't lost anything.
No.
Racecraft today was brilliant. He had an incident in, I think, the first 5 minutes of P1 on Friday, I think. He stacked it, didn't he? Put it in the wall, but that's all right.
He didn't have a good time, that's true, yeah.
Anyway, no, they're good. It's good to see. I would love to see Kimi make some points this year and possibly sneak in for a podium in a wet race. I think the Ferrari's improved motor has made them look better this year, and they are better. Last year, it didn't matter what they did development on the chassis was and how good it was actually running. That Ferrari motor last year was bad. This year, it's good in comparison to the teams that they are racing, and they're really racing Williams, Alpine, and us. So if they can beat them every week, they're doing their job.
Yeah, I think
the jump to everyone else is a bit too big, but
but I certainly think they've improved, Tommy.
Oh, and we like Giovinazzi now. After watching Drive to Survive, Campy, we like him now.
Yeah, we like him. We've changed our mind.
No, you have to like him too.
His family looks great. There's a lot of excitement on that little whatever they're doing.
Still a shit haircut.
Again, you're giving people shit for haircuts.
No, you've never seen my hair, so you can
I have.
Wait for a big reveal midway through the year in the summer break. We'll have a campy hair reveal here on the Oz F1 show where we'll all be disappointed together.
I'm actually like Cole from South Park when he takes his head off and he's a redhead, and that's like
No, Gio's good. Solid.
Yeah, he's good.
I think he's got this season again before the new regs change to prove himself again, whether he's going to stick around after this year, but it's his seat to lose, I would say, rather than he's got to prove himself.
Well, Kimi's going to go before him, so the natural progression is that he will hold the seat for consistency within that team. Does he go somewhere else? I'm not sure if he gets out of the Ferrari Junior program, but Ferrari are locked in for the next 2 or 3 years anyway. So it'd be interesting to see where he ends up. If he can make a jump to a Aston Martin, because Seb's got to go because he's a dud, but we'll get to that. But if he can make a jump across, that'll be good for his career, I think.
Yeah, I think you're right. And look, ultimately, as you say, Kimi Räikkönen, this is his last year. It's good that Alfa Romeo Sauber are making these gains for him because, as I said, in Charles Leclerc's first year, when Sauber were really strong, when it was Ericsson and Leclerc was getting up the grid, and we know if Kimi in the same situation would have been doing stunning things as well. So good for him, hopefully in his last year to get a couple of points, have some fun in the mid-pack, not be flailing at the back. But, someone like Robert Schwartzman maybe in the Ferrari Junior moving up or Callum Ilott coming in would be good too. But absolutely, Giovinazzi, here for it this year. Good on him, and good on Sauber for not just chucking him out the door and replacing him with someone else.
I mean, they tried. They were going to go get Mick.
Sauber,
they were trying to get Mick and they couldn't. So.
Yes. Okay, Aston Martin. Let's talk about Sebastian Vettel. Campy.
Jeez, he's had a stinker.
It's not good, is it?
His testing wasn't good, and he came out and said 10 years ago I would have been really nervous about going in race one, but I've got enough experience to walk through it. Unfortunately, well, I thought he got held up with the yellow flags in qualifying. It's not the case. He just ignored them and kept going and still didn't get out of Q1. So
that was embarrassing, wasn't it?
Yeah, it's a shame for him. But that crash who did he crash into? Who did he go up the backside of? Ocon. That was a rookie mistake. Now, we've made countless excuses for this guy over the last 2 years, really, about him spinning out and not having it. But I think he's done. Yeah,
I think you're right.
I think he's done. Stroll, it scares me to say, but Stroll is going to show this guy up this year.
I think you look at Alonso as a comparison. Two champions, both stepping into new cars, new season. How different they both kind of took to it.
Yep.
Seb looked lost all weekend.
I can handle mistakes happening.
Yeah.
But when you're going up against a guy like Stroll, who knows that it's going to take some time to adjust to it too, but he should seriously consider.
But Stroll finished in 10th, Seb finished in 15th.
Yes.
So just inside the points for Aston, but it's still inside the points, right?
Still, that crash on Ocon was the worst thing I've ever seen. And he complained about it. He's like, why'd he change the line, Seb? That was 3,000%.
It's a bad call.
Your fault. And he's going to have a lot of external pressure from the press this year. And internally, I think he got the ghost.
Has to be his last year. DC and Mark Webber said this as well on another podcast.
We're one race into, so it's not.
Got it. But if he's being outperformed by Stroll the entire year, it's probably time to go mid-year, which will throw massive spanner in the work, of course, but that's the kind of thing that Seb's good for.
Imagine being Aston Martin and signing him over Perez.
Yeah, I think from an Aston Martin point of view, you also have to take a couple of steps back and look at it as a business as a whole and how they are improving selling cars in Germany. But from a Formula One point of view, the chairman don't think has got it right in this instance. But let's talk about Stroll because he actually had some glimpses this race.
He did. He was good. Good. What did he qualify? Didn't get into the top 10.
But
he qualified 12th, I think.
He made it look a lot easier than Seb was having a time, which is, at every race at this point is against your teammate until the first couple are out of the way, right?
I think what is clear from testing into race one is they're not the same team they were last year.
Yes.
They've taken a step back from everybody else.
Lucky Checo.
Which is, I don't know. Well, when you copy a car's design and then not copy last year's Mercedes design either.
They copied?
Did they copy? Lawrence would say he didn't, but Lawrence, you're full of shit. You dickhead. I actually like you, mate. Good on you. But
no, you're so right, though. When you copy...
The chairman.
Talking guff when you come out and say we're not copying. But they haven't made the gains that other teams like your Ferraris and your McLarens have made, and they're their real competition.
Not to jump to Mercedes, but we saw during testing how much talk they were doing about trying to fix the floor issues and increasing the rake. So if the team they copied off is struggling a lot to fix their design, how do you think the guys copying without that information are going to go? They're struggling.
Totally right.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how they perform going forward.
Yep.
Next up is Alfa Tauri.
Jeez, that went well.
Should do that again.
No. Choke on that? Go on.
I did choke on that.
Go on.
Next up, Alfa Tauri. Good weekend. Good looking car too.
Your ex-whipping boy.
Car.
No longer your whipping boy.
Well, you talk about him first before I do.
Qualified really well. Like, surprising. It was actually probably the best part about qualifying to see all the other cars kind of competing really well. Like, we were shocked AlphaTauri was there and then Ferrari and then all these other cars just kept coming out of nowhere. Like, what's going on? And then Max just put them back in their place. But back to AlphaTauri, qualified really well. Sonoda qualified really well. Like, exciting. I think that car is much better. They're coming into that team that we talked about and joked about.
Sister team.
The sister team.
Hey.
Finally, not the...
Thanks, Karen.
It's actually kind of happening. Like,
obviously been some shared design philosophies.
Yeah. But to look at the cars side by side, they don't look that similar.
Other than the rake.
Yeah.
I think that's something that's really helping him is this, the higher rake, as we kind of talked about in Campy's Tech Talk, is the higher rake cars have got the benefit of these new regs. And we weren't sure at the time, but you kind of alluded to it. There's two thoughts.
Yeah.
And basically the high rake ones are coming out on top at the moment.
Yeah, the higher rake with the shorter wheelbase, as opposed to the Mercedes one, which is the lower rake with the longer wheelbase. But that Honda engine has clearly found some HP this year. So it sounds brilliant.
Doesn't it?
It sounds brilliant.
So
and just seeing some of the passes that Perez made throughout the his race, he just blew past some of the cars. But the good thing for Gasly, and I'll eat humble pie again. He's
twice in one episode.
Hungry.
No, he's really. We're talking about the same topic, but he outperformed that car in qualifying. Shame what happened to him on the race. That was
unlucky.
That was a rookie mistake driving going up Danny Ricciardo's
Thank
rear.
goodness he didn't puncture Danny Rick's rear left though, because otherwise his whipping boy status would have remained for the podcast.
Yeah, AlphaTauri looked good, and Yuki Tsunoda, good.
What a dude!
Had some good radio too.
Yeah.
First session.
Yeah.
Put me out in traffic. Yeah. Oh, come on. That's
Love
what
it.
we want to see.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Big fan. Yeah,
Yuki.
big fan of Yuki. I was probably the one most skeptical of him going into season because I hadn't seen much. Campy was a bit more on board and had watched more of him, but very impressed. I did not think he had this capability. I thought he was going to be piddling down with Latifi and right at the back with the Haas's, but genuinely has pace.
I don't think he's scared. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's very Max in terms of he's come in, he goes, I'm new and I'm settling in, but he's done a lot of stuff with the car in terms of lines. You're like, Dude, it's very impressive.
I think he's the fastest rookie. I think he's just not as consistent as he needs to be yet.
Yeah, and
he's a rookie.
And Gasly said that, didn't he? He's like, Yuki's very fast. He's still making some mistakes, but we're coaching him through. So it's actually good that Gasly's like, righto, dude, let's do this together. It's for the team rather than single-minded.
Is that because Gasly's going to move on and go to a French team?
The good thing for Gasly this year is that he gets to take more of responsibility in the practice sessions, and he is the leading driver in that team. So he's going to have to do all the development stuff that they do during practice and get that right and nail it, not just concentrate on his own setup and his own pace of the weekend, which is going to bode well for him moving on to another team if he does. But yeah, he's driving great. Good on him. Well, it's a shame, but hopefully he doesn't get a win though. Jeez,
We'll actually have to bake you a pie if you live in the studio.
Hurt me in the heart, but
I'm here.
I'll credit.
I would love to see them be this competitive all year.
Yeah,
I think that'd be
absolutely,
great. Like another team into the midfield, because they were kind of foam midfield sometimes last year. But to be a genuine contender would be awesome.
And even
Good to
Lando.
see him and Ocon have a punch on or something, because they love each other. They're
Just
best
anyone
mates.
and Ocon, really.
But I think even it wouldn't be a very short race. Well, we've already seen that. Maxi Max in Brazil in the thing. It's like, well, hang on.
want to see it again.
Campy's only here for some kind of sort of mix of
wanna see
mixed martial arts and Formula One racing.
I just want to see the Frenchman give up really early.
Lando came out and said that he was concerned about the pace of the AlphaTauri, and it was the first time I'd heard anyone in that sort of upper midfield team even mention AlphaTauri as a competitor, and he's not wrong.
Yeah.
But someone who's a lot faster than I thought they would be is Ferrari this year.
Yes.
Carlos Sainz finishing in 8th and Charles Leclerc in 6th. Charles seemed to be driving a little bit, the wheels off that car in some of those overtakes that he did going forward through the pack. Like, the guy can drive.
We know he can drive. Like, as
very
much
annoying,
as we don't like it sometimes, he's a pain, but he's genuinely very good. He's so good at qualifying. He's unbelievable. To put that car where it was, he's just good at putting the car in a good spot and then just maintaining on a Sunday. And he did that really well this week as well.
Yeah. We got to give Carl some credit too. He drove pretty well.
He did.
He drove exceptionally well. Didn't get it right in qualifying, but it's a new team. It's one race in. We can't be too harsh on these guys that go on a new
Still make Q3. That's all you need to do.
He had a weird moment, Campy, didn't he, where the car just turned off because he went over a curb.
Yeah, it was strange.
That's odd. I don't think I've ever seen that before.
Ferrari clearly pressing a button on the wall.
Turns out they can do it.
Trying to remove the vet.
They did a pit stop well, though. It turns out they can do it now.
When it's not Vettel.
Yeah. So, look, Charles, good on him. No, good on him. It's good to see Ferrari where they need to be.
Car looks like a pile of shit.
That stupid green
It's a
mission
dark
winner
livery,
can piss
isn't it?
off.
It's terrible.
Yeah, we hate cigarette money too. It's just squids.
Put your pack of cigarettes away.
Yeah, back of that. Yeah, Carlos, I think he'll pick up. He'll pick up.
Oh, for sure. And I think
Not worried.
They'll be toe to toe pretty soon.
I don't think necessarily we're going to see one driver performing better than the other for this season. I think with Carlos learning the team, but he was still doing a great job against Charles. Yeah. But anyway, as you say, we'll see what happens. Let's talk about
the pace in that engine is not good. I saw some cars.
Yeah, you're right.
Like the McLaren, Lando blew past him.
Yep.
And so did Perez.
Their only chances if they're beating the speed traps like they were that year when they were cheating. They were winning every speed trap around the racetrack.
Yep.
They don't have that straight line speed, which is what they need because that aero is still not up to scratch.
Yeah, and the advantage that Charles had this weekend was that he qualified well.
Yes.
And if he can qualify, we know he's good over one lap, so if he can do that week in, week out, put his car in a position for the first 10 laps of the race to jump all of his competitors and the realistic ones he's racing, like your McLarens and your Aston Martins, it'll be bode well for him. But
Show the confidence.
They're not where Ferrari should be.
No, they show the confidence, I think, by going out on softs rather than mediums. So the fact that they had to get to that point by being on the faster tyre is, we're not quite there yet. Let's talk about McLaren. Really great weekend for them. I don't think they were stunning in terms of speed and this rear diffusers that we've been talking about after testing. Whilst yes, it was clever, maybe not the entire package, but Lando finished in 4th, which is great for the team, and Danny Rick, our boy, in 7th.
Yep.
Campy, you were a little bit disappointed with Danny Rick's performance in the first couple of laps. weren't you?
No, we love Danny Rick. We're completely biased. We're not going to say
James
a bad
and I
word
do.
about him. We're not going to say a bad word about him. I think he built his qualifying lap all weekend. He didn't look strong against Lando for most of the weekend, but we know what Danny Rick's like. He can pull it out. He built, and that last lap in qualifying was the best lap he did all weekend, and he beat his teammate in that. As for the race pace, he's still not set with the car, and he even said afterwards in his interview, he's like not super happy with the pace. We've got a lot to work on, but he can see the progression. But this is the most laps he's done in a car in a single day. So it's essentially the 4th time he's been in the car. And he'll keep learning and get better and better and better and better. And he'll pants Lando this year. I've got no issues about that. But it's just going to take him a while. Like when he moved to that Renault, it's going to take him 6 to 7 races to really adapt to the car and what it's doing and figure out how to trail brake on it, figure out the engine systems. And not that he hasn't got those things figured out now, but just to drive the car on the limits, he'll learn. He's fine. But I was a bit worried about his pace at one stage, but he did get shafted, I suppose. He lost time in the pit stop and he couldn't recover it. Once he got out of that DRS range to Leclerc, he couldn't really hang on.
I think he was only on for 6th anyway, really, to be honest. 5th at the best.
Yeah.
So 7th is not bad. Yes, we can dive deeper and look at the times, but I think at some point he goes, all right, this is glorified testing now. I'm set in 7th. Let's do some other stuff. Let's kind of work on what happens when I do this with the tyres. What happens when I change this bias? He's still learning. He's just going to use that opportunity. As long as he gets 7th still, he's stoked.
Yeah.
So, and he just needed to bring home points for the team. He's a team player. We know that as well. So he's banked some team points now as well by not cracking the shits and stuff. It's good.
a great weekend for McLaren.
Great
They're
weekend.
sitting 3rd in the Constructors' Championship already.
But McLaren need to bank points early in this Constructors because everyone else is going to jump them because they got no upgrade tokens to spare to upgrade the car. So it's basically it for the year. Sorry, I just almost hiccuped.
Forgot how to breathe for a second.
Oh, sure, I hiccuped, but I got through it.
You're so excited about talking about people jumping McLaren. I got disappointed there for a second.
I thought I hit it, but clearly not.
That's awesome.
This guy's expression just like a bloody load or something.
But can I just say, whilst obviously I think Daniel Ricciardo was a better driver than Lando, it's good for Lando to have this out of the gate being ahead of Daniel. As I said, not that I think he's better than him, but for the team point of view, and I really am behind McLaren 100% this year, I want them to be challenging for 2nd, honestly. And to do that, they consistently need to finish around the 3rd to 5th mark with both cars. And I think both of these drivers are good. Was a bit there for a little bit when Danny and Lando were going at it for the first time. And as I said to you boys at the time, it was just an opportunity for Lando to put his foot down and go, no, Daniel, I'm not going to let you roll all over me. I wasn't upset by that. I'd be upset if they crashed out, but that was good.
Had a lot of good wheel-to-wheel racing tonight without incidents.
Yeah.
Up the front too, because we've got consummate professional drivers up the front.
Yes.
Allow the space they need to, but there's some great wheel-to-wheel.
But Lando did well. Tommy T?
Big fan. We saw it through testing. We saw it through practices. He's solid. 3rd season now, we're talking, Lando.
Yeah.
So
Third.
now's the chance to kind of put all that stuff down into an actual season.
Yeah.
He's been pretty good in qualifying, but now is his opportunity to show it. If he can get close to out qualifying Daniel Ricciardo, who we know is great at qualifying, that's kind of him putting the whole package together.
Yeah.
Very excited.
It's good for both of them. What's also great is Sergio Perez having a really terrible start to the race and finishing where he should be finishing in a car like he's in. Finishing in 5th was an amazing recovery from literally the pit lane, from having the pressure of the car wasn't even on ahead of the formation or ahead of the actual start with the formation lap to this. He's got it. I think, yes, it's the first race and yes, there's lots of stuff to go, but clearly experience shows that he's not, he's got nothing to lose, but he's not clambering to try and figure out stuff. He's got it sorted out. Also, I think it's a benefit to him or an advantage to him the fact that Gasly and Albon have gone before, and Red Bull have maybe gone, okay, well, he's not Daniel Ricciardo and he's not set like Max, so we need to be a little bit more able to listen and pivot for these drivers. But Sergio put his head down and he made his way through the pack.
Big fan. We liked Sergio. We were shattered he didn't have a drive for so long.
Yeah.
We called it early. Well, I called it early.
Yeah, no.
You wanted Seb there because you're an idiot.
Oh.
That aged well.
Third time this episode.
The prophet, that aged well, didn't it? No.
Jeez, I have to start swimming again.
No, but Checo to Red Bull, great decision. He's great. He was good all weekend. He qualified really well, unlucky, but
I think
he's exactly what they needed as a second driver.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, Red Bull wanted him to qualify on the mediums, and they should have just done it on the softs and got him through it. But what happened on the outlap to come back and drive through the pack like he did? Yeah. He's got some genuine pace, and he'll be that second driver for Red Bull that they want this year.
He'll be a Barrichello. Right.
Yeah, he'll be better than a Barrichello. He'll be better than a
Shout
Barrichello.
out to you, Rubens. The two of us love him.
No, I think Checo is good. He'll get some good results this year too.
Yeah. I mean, that's a flip from the last podcast where you said I think he's a better driver than we say he is.
Again, first race in.
I know,
Yeah.
but it's good. It's good to see. You know, the dude sat at the end of the pit lane for a very long time with very cold tyres compared to everyone else. So hats off to you. But let's talk about Maxi Max because
Maximus Verstappen.
He got out of the car and with Jensen Button in the pit lane was not throwing his toys out of the car. I was like, yeah, that was disappointing, but hey, we've got the pace. It's like, I'm sorry, who is this person?
What?
Who is this seriously old head on very young shoulders still?
Would young Max have given that place back?
100% no.
No.
So Campy, talk us through what actually happened though. Why did he have to give the place back?
Because technically he was off track. It's not that Lewis didn't get black flagged for going off the track during the race either. But just because he made the pass.
If you make a place off it.
I think he had the move done. He just...
Yeah.
It was an unfortunate corner to do
It's a
that.
tough one, but I liked what he did. He gave it straight back. Brundle alluded to he could have given it back in a more advantageous place on the track for him, but I don't think it mattered. I think he was sensational. That lapping quality.
Oh my gosh.
5 tenths, was it? Or 4?
4 tenths.
4.5 tenths. It was mega. And to watch it, it was, it's a work of art watching him.
Yeah.
And Brundle was talking about testing Max's driving style, which I spoke about last week. He's completely right. He throws it in and then he's correcting it. Now, it's counterintuitive because when you watch the Merc guys driving, they're not moving their steering wheel and making massive adjustments all the time. But Max is consistently anticipating what the car's going to do and correcting for it. It's great to watch. So.
Do you know the only other driver I saw do that this weekend was Yuki?
Yeah, right.
In terms of a very similar driving style, just throws it into the corner, goes, there'll be grip here somewhere. Find it, four-wheel drifts it, as you said in the Tech Talk podcast as well, and does a stunning job. But Max is the best driver on the grid, I reckon, at the moment.
Yep.
And interesting, this is the first race in which Lewis won the season opener. He hasn't done that in the turbo hybrid era.
So what does that mean?
I think that means he goes on to lose the championship this year. And I think I actually made that prediction last year.
So
The profit's back.
profit restored.
You said VB was going to win though.
Should I have some humility pie for that one, boys?
No. just push out the humble pie that you ate a little bit earlier. But Red Bull, Karen will be very happy with the position where they are. Helmut Marko, I don't really care about his opinion because I don't think he should be in that team anymore. But Red Bull, as a whole, looking good to win a Constructors' Champion for this year. Yes, it's the first race, but I don't care. It's good. And the drivers with Maxi Max.
Yeah.
Do you prefer drivers or constructors if you're a team?
I think you have to prefer the Constructors at this point. It's been such a it's been for Christian, I think it's been such a long time under Mercedes dominance. If you can get both, fantastic. But I think for him, he'd be happier having just a Constructors' Championship.
I don't know.
Nah,
I reckon they want a driver.
Because
and lose it.
this is a second-rate championship. Get while we have it.
But he can't get in the car and drive it himself. Do you know, like from a Christian point of view?
The driving championship, the driver championship driver, that team wins the construction.
I think they want the cash for that engine program they're going to start.
Yeah,
I
honestly.
probably need that. But, good point.
Humble pie?
Dietrich's no, you make a valid point. You're still full of shit.
Nothing changes.
Dietrich's got plenty of cash, but you'd much prefer the
Send it over.
You'd much prefer the drivers. You two are muppets.
The Campy collection coming to AlphaTauri, never. Thank goodness.
Ring me, Dietrich. We'll do a deal.
Ring me. Oh, yeah, because you're watching this podcast for sure. But anyway, Red Bull looking happy. Mercedes, though, very happy. As I said at the beginning, Toto Wolff was, doing these ones at the back of the garage winning, and Hamilton had to work for it, which is fantastic to see. Mercedes, do yourself a favour, learn how to do a pit stop in Bahrain, because this is the second year in a row where you haven't done that very well with Valtteri. And poor VB, as you said, Campy, would have been fighting for second if his stop wasn't as crap. And also the Jack, I don't like it was just a
fire the guy with the Jack.
Watch.
He's a dud.
Yeah, gone. See you later.
Catcher.
All credit to Mercedes for strategically winning this race. They pitted Hamilton early when he was behind Max,
which he wasn't happy about.
Well, Max,
never is.
What a surprise!
But it put the pressure on Red Bull to respond. And if they had responded a lap later, they would have lost the lead. So that decision right there ultimately won them the race.
Yeah, because they had to put Max on that long, see how long he can go for strategy.
He sacrificed his track position there. But the thing that frustrated me the most was Valtteri Bottas. If they didn't stuff that up, they would have had a Mercedes 1-2, and it was locked, signed, sealed, and delivered for at least a Hamilton win. Because there's no way Max would have passed Valtteri and then passed Lewis on those tyres. He would have got one of them, but not both. Real shame for Valtteri, because I thought he drove excellent this week. His race pace was better than Lewis's.
Yep.
His qualifying was a bit off, but he picked his qualifying up from last year. And he looks really comfortable and more settled in that car than what Lewis does.
Yeah.
He's still not happy with it. He's still got a lot of work to do. As he said, I'm not happy with it. We've got a lot of work to do with it. I thought he was excellent this weekend. If I'm him, I'm looking at the next few rounds going, I've got a real chance here to get 3 or 4 wins.
Yep. And that's the thing, is that the car, obviously with Red Bull pushing closer to the front as well, there's more opportunities towards there. And Valtteri does very well on race day with opportunities. He isn't like he gives space like Kimi does. He's a professional like that. But this is his year to win a world championship, or at least to prove that he deserves the seat again for next year. I think he still does, but there are a lot of haters out there for poor old VB.
Yeah, I don't get that.
I don't get that either. I think I just love George and they want George to get out. His time will come, right? Plenty of time for George Russell.
Would say that. The Poms are the worst people ever. So
I agree, James.
We just keep circling around between different countries. Who are the worst? Who are the best?
Everyone's the worst.
Are the
Sent
Kiwis?
the convicts out to Australia and New Zealand however many years ago. Now we're better at them at everything they do. So cop that. Go and get your royal family in order. That's a bloody shit show.
This is the next edition.
I just want to go live in Texas. You said Texas is the best.
Yeah, Texas.
They're making the right decision.
There you go. Well, that's each of the teams. No, you're not. That's all of the teams. And Campy's rankings of places to live. Texas is at the top. But this is good. This is great opening race.
For sure.
I mean, there's a couple of weeks, which is unfortunate. We have to wait until we go to Imola. But probably my favourite part of going racing, at least for this time around, is the F1 Fantasy. I can put the sting in if you like, or you can just sing it. There you go. The F1 Fantasy League, we've got over 80 people in it. If you haven't joined yet, never fear, because we are giving away some merch, things like this and our Legends tee as well. At the end of the year, it'll be for the top 3, but also for some best names throughout the season. So feel free to continue to change them, by the way, because we'll take notes of them through the year as we go on.
Kenny, that's your job.
And it's never... if you'd like to do something for the podcast, mate, that'd be great. But... Tommy T, you've got some awesome names to read out.
Firstly, F1, if you could get an app that works, you dickheads, that'd be great.
Seriously, I can't even get it on my computer.
Second that.
It's so crap. I can't log in any time at all.
Yeah.
Let's look. Here comes the Sonoda. You've got some rippers, man.
Yeah.
Oh, really good. Tictum Demolition Derby.
Is that by any chance Dave Munnis?
No, that's Nicholas H.
Oh, nice.
Oh, Nicholas
H.
I think I'm turning
to you.
Japanese.
Is that just you?
Good tune.
Raymond, very good. Nikita Haas wandering thing. ...
Yeah.
Very good. We've got some really good victims of Mazepin helpline. Seriously, we've got some rippers, guys. Keep it up. Man, I wish we had more organisation and we had this sorted, but
Campy for president still in there.
that's the worst one by far. That should
you.
not.
What's your name, Jim?
Sort it out.
Campy's new beanie fund. Because if you can see this, he's got a bloody hole in the top of it. And
Daniel
it's-
Thiccardo.
Thiccardo. I love that. Thiccardo.
I like that one. What was it? Tommy T out of context.
Campy is the best. That is always out of context. That can't be a real thing.
What?
My one was ain't no for stopping me from stealing your missus.
Can't let it go. That's going to be the whole thing. Poor Danny
Yes,
Kvyat, and now a reserve driver for Alpine. So that's not even a great team to be a reserve driver for. But if, look,
Stick it in my ass.
there, we'll finish with that one.
Stick it in my ass, Greg.
But please jump on for yourself to have a look at the names. And shout out to you if you're part of our F1 Fantasy League. Also, a shout out to you if you've recently started following us on Instagram. We literally, it's popped on my phone. We've now got 400 followers, which is fantastic. It seems like a small number, but
So
we're
is that
actually, yes, it is. We're actually, considering we were at like 263 3 days ago.
I don't know anything about
Shout
it.
out to Formula God Comments as well, who helped us and partnering with us to do that. But we bloody love doing this sort of stuff. We potentially had a big opportunity this year that fell through due to just people being unable to respond to emails, but that's okay. What we are loving doing though is more of this. So keep giving us your feedback. We're not always going to get it right, by the way. So if it looks terrible, you can say it looks terrible and we'll accept that. But if it, we're getting better and better. So please consider subscribing on YouTube. That helps a lot. And just follow us for all that sort of other stuff. We're around. The Discord server, I said, is an awesome place to chat. We've got a Facebook group as well. Seriously, we're everywhere. So we will listen to you. We'll write back to you, send us emails, DMs, all of it. We love, Campy won't because he doesn't understand how to do that, but I do send screenshots of stuff to him and occasionally he
Snail mail
responds.
sometimes we print it out.
I do get some good stuff from time to time.
You do.
But I just don't care for it. And that's not a reflection of how I feel about the fans, but I
It is
just
a bit,
don't
isn't it?
care for it.
But we love it. And thank you so much for watching this episode. Boys, thank you for getting up early and watching Bahrain. This has been a lot of fun.
It has. It's good.
It's good to see your bloody faces again. It's nice to be in person to do this. And thank you for listening and watching. And we'll see you next time for a race review at Imola.